The Super Bowl and cigarette smoking. In a short while, Super Bowl 57 will be played. I don't know if you're a football fan or not. My family and I are primarily baseball and hockey fans, but you really don't have to be a football fan, as though many, nothing wrong with that, but you don't have to be a football fan to really enjoy the Super Bowl each year. Um, it's a great reason, I think, for families and friends to get together, and often in the middle of winter when not a lot's going on, and kind of get together, have some fun, have some food. The game is on, you're watching it, you're having a good time, you're having a couple drinks, so why not? So anyway, with considering the Super Bowl is coming up in a little while, and you may even be watching this while you're at a Super Bowl party, I figured let me tell you a few amazing facts and figures that you might want to tell some of your friends and appear to be a Super Bowl genius. So we'll tear it a little bit apart. Now, again, it's today's Super Bowl 57, which is being played between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. It will be held at State Farm Stadium, which is in Glendale, Arizona. That stadium has a capacity of about 63,400 people, but it can be expanded for what they would call mega events up to about 73,000 people. I don't know what they do, but I'd assume that to sell additional tickets, that's probably what they're doing. Now, they say today the average ticket price is going to be $8,837. Now, that has changed over the last few days. I guess prices have actually dropped a bit from what I see online. But $8,837 per ticket is an average. I'd have to assume that if a couple or two people went to this game, you stayed at a hotel, you paid the park, and you had a few meals, at the very least, you're averaging about $20,000 for a few hours of entertainment. With that said, from what I read, the most expensive ticket that's available, at least at this point for the game today, is $15,433. That amazed me. It's definitely a little rich for my blood. The least expensive ticket for today's game is approximately $3,480. I guess that's a bargain. Now, oddly enough, I looked this up. The very first Super Bowl, which I actually do remember, I was a kid, but it was back in 1967, and it was actually between the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Do you know what the average ticket price was for the very first Super Bowl? It was $12. And it took a number of years before the average ticket price for a Super Bowl actually went over $20. Think about that. What a deal. Now, let's talk a little bit about what's going to be spent and such today. And this took a little research. In 2023, the average advertiser is going to pay approximately $7 million for a 30-second spot during the Super Bowl. $7 million. I hope the message is worth it. That's a lot of bottles of soda. That's a lot of hot dogs. That's a lot of Doritos, whatever it might be. You have to sell just to be worth $7 million, exposure. Nearly 1.3 billion, that's not million, billion dollars will be spent on beer today. Or I should say, leading up to the Super Bowl, which could be during the parties and such today. So that means about 325 million gallons of beer will be consumed across the United States today. It's a lot of beer. I guess they can't afford those commercials when you think about it. Americans will spend over $387 million on snacks today. 130 million on pizza, and about let me look at over 2 billion, again with a B, $2 billion on chicken wings. It's a lot of chicken wings. Let's see. This was one that I thought was kind of fun. Super Bowl viewers will consume about 48 million tons of avocados today that it's in guacamole form. 48 million tons. I don't know who counts this. I don't know how they tabulate it. 48 million tons. That's a lot of guacamole. $487 million will be spent on Super Bowl snacks today. Here's another good one. Americans eat about 88 million pounds of cheese today. Think about that. They spend $4.5 million on cheese for the Super Bowl. Now, if you could cover, and this is again, I don't know who did calculated this, but I found it online. If you could cover a typical pro football field with cheese, for the amount of cheese that's consumed today, it would actually cover a pro football field at about 30 feet deep. That's a lot of cheese. We will eat, as across the country, we will eat about 28 million pounds of potato chips. We will eat 12.5 million pizzas. And the cost to that will be about $130 million. So I guess this is all great for the economy. There's a lot of money being spent. In addition, 1.38 billion, again, would it be billion chicken wings will be consumed today at a cost of $2.7 billion. And this is another one, I guess, again, with a lot of people, like for where I am in New York, typically it's cold, people might not be grilling, but across the country, I guess a lot of people are. But 14 billion hamburgers will be grilled today for consumption before and during the Super Bowl. Now, actually, at the Super Bowl, I tried to take a look and see what prices might be. And they said a typical 25 ounce, which is a larger can of Bud Light, that would typically cost about $3 if you bought it from like a discounted beer retailer, will actually cost you at the Super Bowl $17.50. So there's definitely a little bit of a markup in it. I'm sure that going to make a little money. The average price of a hot dog there, which probably sounds like a deal, is going to be $12.75. I guess the message here is load up before you get there, and just enjoy your beer. Now here's a kind of a neat statistic. You may have been one of these in the past. They say about 17 million Americans call in sick the Monday after the Super Bowl. I guess these are people that have had too much guacamole, too much beer, too many burgers, too many wings, too much pizza. But about 17 million people will call in sick. And that's from a survey of people that admitted. So that's a percentage of the whole, but based on a survey. Antacid sales rise across the United States by 20% on the Monday after the Super Bowl. So you can tell there's a lot of sore tummies out there. So anyway, with all this said, I hope you enjoy all of these Super Bowl facts. I think it's very interesting. I love trivia, things like that. But here's one that is a little bit different. Let me read this to you. In accordance with the Smoke-Free Arizona Act, State Farm Stadium is a non-smoking facility. So all these people that are spending, even though some of these people are spending $30,000 for a couple tickets, if a family goes, they may be dropping $50,000, $60,000 for a game. You cannot smoke at that game. There are outdoor smoking areas that you can go to and have access to. If you smoke inside that stadium, it says you will be ejected and no refunds will be given. So to me, if you want to enjoy the Super Bowl, you want to enjoy the taste of things, you certainly want to get a value for going to a Super Bowl when you pay $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 for tickets, I suggest that you consider to stop smoking. If you want to know how I quit smoking successfully 15 years ago, please click one of the links around this video. Please like, subscribe. I look forward to seeing you as an ex-smoker.